Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where we are currently performing a pair of contracts. And those contracts are, first, we need to dock up a craft here in Minmus orbit. And obviously this is launched pre-docked up. We're going to land this craft on the dark side. We can actually land very close to this is the engine over here. But we need to remain on the dark side for our actual landing here, and then grab a surface sample, lift back up, dock back up to this, and then we head on home. That is the overall mission plan here, and that is exactly what we're going to be doing. Now, we've already moved Bill Kerbin down over here, so we're pretty much ready to do this at this juncture. I want to just double check that we didn't drain any of the fuel up here. Not that we need all of this. But yeah, that looks good. This looks absolutely fine. We've only got 400 meters per second left here, right? But we're going to transfer a bunch of this leftover fuel down, and that'll be fine. We're gonna leave these guys at home eventually, or well, they're going to remain here in orbit. And I think at this point we're ready to just undock this. So we undock. We're not going to immediately redock. We are instead going to activate these engines. There we go. And get just a tiny amount of distance here. Cool. And now we'll hop over to retrograde. And at this point, I want to drop our periapsis and apoapsis from this 50-kilometer circular orbit that we're in right now down to a bit more manageable, like 15-kilometer orbit or so. So that's exactly what we'll do. I guess a 10-kilometer orbit is what we're angling for here. Sure. We can just drop that a little further. 10 kilometers is safe over Minmus, right? I'm pretty sure 10 kilometers is safe over Minmus. We're going to add a maneuver here and circularize that right on up. We need to land and only touch the dark side to verify Valentina's claims that the light side is all sticky and goopy and we really shouldn't be landing there, according to Valentina. That is the claim that we're going to be testing here. And let's get in position for this burn. So we're going to be circularizing our orbit before we go down here. I was thinking about just dropping down at this periapsis, but the timing of it is not ideal for that. We're going to be coming around into the light side very soon, so we're just going to circularize, come around to this periapsis, and then call it good. Beautiful. So let's get this set up here. We've got about 1 minute until our burn. So we'll get in position for that. How much electric charge do we have? 250? Oh, that's fine. Okay. So we'll warp forward a little bit. We've got about 3 seconds of burn here. I want to double check our thrust to weight. 10? Okay, yeah, we've got these pugs on here, so that'll be fine. 3, 2, 1, and mark. Okay, that's our orbit roughly circularized. I'm going to call that good enough. And then we're going to come around over this direction. Now, the main question is this flats over here? It is. We know this because of this. These guys are currently at the flat. We've got our probe there. So it's refrozen, but we have data from when it was light, right? So we're going to warp around over this way right now, and we need to collect new data from when it's dark so that we can verify that it's less sticky. That's the idea here. Fantastic. We're going to deploy our landing legs here, and we're just heading right on around into the dark side. Now, I want to land a ways away from this. We could target to land right at the same site. There's not actually a point to doing that, and I want to target landing quite a long ways away from it, somewhere where we've had additional time for this surface area to freeze. So for now, we're going to warp to like directly over the site. And I want to land on, like, the other side of these flats. So, looking at the layout here. Okay. We'd like to land at least, like, over here somewhere-ish. So, we're going to start a retrograde burn here. And I have no idea what we're looking at here. So, that's helpful. That's probably good enough for now. Now, keep in mind, this is a wild amount of overkill fuel. We are going to be transferring this fuel back through our docking port into our rendezvous stage, and that's going to be what's taking us back. We're going to be ditching these outer tanks at that time. This tank will likely remain full. And actually, we are not pulling fuel out of that tank. That's interesting. So we can see that we've got about 4 minutes on our suicide burn here. The question is, how are we actually looking for placement of our landing site? Okay, that's 1.5 minutes. Ah, I see. It's right there. That's good enough. It's definitely had time to freeze back over here, I'd say. So that's good. We're going to warp forward a bit here. Now, this number is probably not strictly speaking accurate because we do still have a good amount of horizontal speed here. So I'm going to start this up at like T plus 10 seconds. Just to be on the safe side. Honestly, KER has some problems when there's horizontal speed involved. So we're going to start the burn right now. And realistically, I want to be at like horizontal velocity minus. And now make our way over to retrograde. Okay. So something along the lines of this to kill our horizontal speed. There we go. And now this should be more accurate, now that our horizontal speed is 1.43 meters per second. So we'll use this. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm burning now. I always get a little panicky doing that, but obviously we burned a little bit early there. Obviously, but this is fine. This is completely okay. So here we are on the surface. And it seems pretty solid, to be honest. This doesn't seem very sticky at all. But we need to have Bob head out and grab a surface sample. So Bob's going to grab a surface sample, but this sample is going to have to be transported back to Kerbin. We're going to store it in a special freezer that's inside of our pomegranate reentry module here. That freezer keeps it at the exact temperature that it was here, so that it doesn't melt on the way back. Because who knows, if we just have it in a baggie, it might get sticky on the way back, even if it wasn't sticky here. Now, I do want to have Jeb hop out and just give us a little bit of information here. So Jeb's going to hop out, and we're just trying to get Jeb to corroborate Valentina's claims that this even could get sticky. So Jeb is going to take a surface sample himself. Not that that's going to be amazingly useful for him, but he's mostly checking right now to say, how bad is it, really? Like, is this actually frozen? Is this ice cream? He's not sure. Jeb is not actually able to determine this. Jeb is of the opinion that we need to try landing on the day side in this same flight. Unfortunately for Jeb, the funding isn't there for that. That is not... In fact, the funding specifically says, do not allow the craft to be on the daytime surface of Minmus until the surface sample can be analyzed. So we have to bring it back. What we're going to do is we're just going to bring it back in its frozen state, and at the KSC, we'll allow it to start to melt. If it gets sticky there, then we know we have a problem. For now, though, what do we need to do? Well, we need to set this as our target. Now, we could just lift off right now. But for the moment, we're just going to let this come on around. We can see we're basically anti-target right now. So I'm just going to launch us into a fairly close orbit here. We're just waiting for this to come on around. And we're very much in the night side right now, so that's all good. Cool. Here we see the pro target marker. Okay. I'm going to launch about now, actually. Let's go. So we're going to retract our landing legs here. We are apparently tumbling. I want SAS on, thank you. Let's not tumble on over. Let's just hold straight on up. Cool. And we're going to burn basically directly at the target, but we're overshooting it slightly because we know it's going to be a little bit until we get there. So let's see what this encounter is going to look like. Okay. If we were to burn towards the target a little bit from here, that's exactly what we want to do, I think. But we really should, at this point, be burning like 90 degrees, right? We should be burning down over this way and moving when we're going to interact with the target. We are going to be bypassing the target a little bit, but that's fine. We can do a break as we get there. So I just want to bring us on over, and we can see that's reducing our relative speed and reducing our separation. We are going to need to be doing a braking maneuver when we get there. Okay, let's just bring that on over. 0.3 kilometers looks good. We'll head over to target retrograde, and that's going to be where we are going to do our braking burn. There will be a pretty decent relative speed there. So we're going to put in a maneuver for 121.8 minus 121.8. There we go. And we're not actually going to be burning retrograde here. I'm using this just for timing. We're going to warp on towards that. Beautiful. So we know that it's going to be a 19-second burn. That's all fine. We're going to warp forward a little bit further here. 4, 3, 2, 1, and mark. Beautiful. We don't care about this actual maneuver. We're just going to get this braking burn done here. We're in under a kilometer away. I like it. Not too bad. We've definitely overshot a bit. It's not the most efficient transfer in the world, but it did get us relatively close. Okay. We're continuing to head in at about 10 meters per second. I want to, at this point, push our retrograde node over this direction. Overcompensating it a bit, I feel like. Yeah, a bit more like this. Beautiful. Now we're heading virtually directly at the ship here, which is what we want. Separation of 0.0 kilometers. Cool. So we're going to head on in here. We might be on a collision course right now. We're definitely drifting off a little bit. Some corrective burns would be necessary, but I'm not going to do that. We don't actually want to collide. So this will be fine. And we're about 100 meters out. Make that 50 meters out. I'm going to start killing some of this speed. Yeah, this is looking fine. I want to take this down to 0.0. Perfect. So we're 22 meters away right now. I want to, at this point, switch over to here. Control from here. I want to set this as target. And we want to head on over. Hilarious. We kind of went the long way there, but that's fine. Okay, we'll get that aligned up. Beautiful. We can see we are still drifting a wee bit here, but I want to be right about here. There we go. RCS on. And we'll accelerate ourselves on in. That's very, very sensitive. No doubt about that. Going to adjust our roll slightly here. Okay. Cool. That should do right there. The question is this going to count for our mission? And I don't think it will. I think this technically, yeah, requires 2 different vessels. I'm going to say that this counts, though, because what we just did is actually more challenging than this achievement. We did rendezvous 2 vessels. We did dock 2 vessels on or around Minmus. We just did it the hard way. We brought them up in the same flight, yes, but we landed and then we came back. So I'm going to consider that this achievement complete, and we can finish that, or not achievement, this mission complete. We can do that via this. So we can just complete this like that. I'm going to call that complete. Beautiful. So that's absolutely fine. That is now done. And now we need to continue this mission, of course, by heading home. But yeah, we did this the hard way. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to pin open this fuel tank. Then I'm going to pin open all of these guys. I want to move the fuel out of these, and we're going to have to do this with 12 total tanks. I want to move the fuel out of these and into our center tank here. So that's half of them done. I didn't grab the pug. Okay. There we go. And now for this one here. There we go. So there's all of those open, and we're just going to drain that fuel right on out of there and into this tank. Because we want to ditch these at this point. Although, I kind of want to make it so that we have no space junk from it. And we can do that. We can definitely do that. So let's get all of this fuel drained out. Beautiful. Now we can unpin open all of these. All of this is currently unfueled, right? So that's all great. We have no actual engine for this, so really this should be unfueled as well. Since we're going to have no engine here. So we should definitely move this fuel over as well. There we go. Our landing stage is now completely dry of fuel. And now we're going to hop over to retrograde. Because I want to not actually have any space junk here. Cool. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take this down to a collision trajectory. And then we'll ditch these. I'm going to retract this antenna just in case it hits anything. I'm going to do the same with this antenna. We have no connection for the next little bit as we do this maneuver. That's fine. We have a pilot here. So let's bring this on down. We're now on a collision trajectory. I'm going to make it be a little bit more of a collision trajectory there. Let's do something like this. There. Now we're going to ditch these tanks. Maybe. There we go. Now we're going to ditch the tanks. Those should all be on an impact trajectory at this moment. And then we're going to flip around to prograde here. We can now extend this antenna so that Bill can have his cat flicks here. Fantastic. And we've definitely got some wiggling going on here. But that's honestly to be expected. We could strut this together. That may not be a terrible idea. We'll see how wiggly this gets. I want to put us back up into some form of orbit. Okay, this is good enough. That wasn't too bad. But I do want to have Bill strut this together here. So Bill, you can hop out. He needs to actually be transferred back up over here. There we go. And then Bill can EVA on out. And Bill, you are going to come on down over this direction with your goal being to strut this like so. So we're going to do one there. We're going to do one there. He's going to run face first into this. That's fine. And we'll just get this strutted. Perfect. Good job, Bill. Now we're going to hop back in now that we have some stability there. And those struts should automatically release when we undock. So that'll be fine. We will hop right on in. I switched to free camera. There we go. Orbital camera. Hop in. There you go. Fantastic. And now we can return home. This engine is activated. It doesn't know how much fuel it has. Okay, that's exciting. It apparently thinks we have 0 meters per second. That is not, strictly speaking, accurate. All of our fuel is here. It's very confused by what we've done, but that's fine. So where are we in our orbit right now? Okay, we should probably sometime around here, which is after an orbit, start our return trip. Is that a collision course? Right there? That is a collision course. Let's not quite do that much. That's 60 kilometers? Okay. Let's bring that down to about 30. Actually, 20 is fine. Cool. Now, the game is very confused about how much juice we've got in the tank here. The answer is we have quite a lot. Quite a lot. So let's get into position here and let's warp around to this. We have way more than this thinks we do. That's for sure. We're still a little wiggly, but that's because we're very bottom heavy, I think. And this burn is going to be starting in about 50 seconds here. We'll just get in position, wiggling our way on over. Beautiful. And let's warp a little further. 20 seconds. 10 and 3, 2, 1. Mark. And off we go. Fantastic. We don't have a burn time indicator here. That's exciting. We'll just have to watch the delta V numbers. 4.5. Okay. The game is definitely confused about what we've done here. But that's fine. It is a slightly complicated flight plan. No doubt about that. So here we go. We are on our way back. 21 kilometers. Looks good. Of course, at this point, we're going to come back and do a radial retrograde with the fuel we've got left. We can see we've got quite a lot of it, and we're just going to come in around here-ish. Or is it going to be... Hang on. Is it going to be here, or is it going to be this way? I think we're coming in 1 hour 16 minutes and 1 hour 11, so this way. Beautiful. So we're going to do a retrograde burn here, and of course we're going to need to toss in some radial to keep that periapsis reasonable. Beautiful. What are we at right now? 15 and 68. That's actually pretty good. Yeah, I'm content with this. This will be fine. So we'll position for that burn. We'll just wiggle our way on over there. This is definitely due to the uneven mass distribution. We could actually potentially help this a little bit by moving this weight up. So we would do something like this. Just equalizing this tank a bit would be the idea here. So I would want to get these relatively lined up and then do something kind of like that. So now it's more evenly distributed, or we could even just move it all the way up. I'm not sure is that going to make this tank completely dry? It might. We'll see. But moving the weight up here is probably not a terrible idea for right now. And this tank, of course, is completely empty, and that's what we want. Yeah, looks like we'll be fine here. We can get both of those filled up. Beautiful. Looks good. Okay, so let's go ahead and warp over to this position. Now, keep in mind, this solar panel is not retractable and is not intended to be returned. This is going to be expended once we get into position here. And this will be expended as well, and we're going to be bringing back everything up here. So for right now, I want to, as soon as we get into position for this burn, and we're very slowly falling, but we are accelerating. There we go. As soon as we get into position here, I want to retract these photovoltaic panels. I want to retract this antenna. This one can be retracted, but it will be expended. There's not really a point, and we cannot retract this photovoltaic panel. It will go away. Cool. So this is going to be an unknown burn time. I like it. And we don't technically know if we have the delta V to perform this burn, but we probably do. So 3, 2, 1, mark. And we're burning. Beautiful. We're also in Atmo right now. That's a little spicy. In fact, we're a lot lower than I thought we would be. A whole lot lower. That, of course, was our solar panel burning off. That's not a surprise. We're just going to burn pure retrograde at this point. So that's okay. Realistically, we might not undock this. I think that we're just going to activate this decoupler once we run out of fuel here. This is definitely spicier of a re-entry than I was intending to have. I don't know how long of a burn time we've got left in here. We're technically not in landing mode, though. Now we are. Okay. Keeping an eye on this situation here. Looks okay. We're at 2.4 kilometers per second. I think we're actually going to be landing over this, potentially. Maybe in the water up here, actually. This is definitely spicier than I was anticipating, but it's fine. Not a major problem here. This will all be expended. We're just using it to slow ourselves down a little bit. We could technically decouple at this point, and it would be fine, I think. In fact, I'm going to. Beautiful. So we're coming on down here. I want to be in orbital, or do I want to be in surface mode? I'm watching this heat gauge. Surface mode is, I think, the one that we want. So this is fine. We're slowing down nicely. It does look like we're coming down in the water, but we might make it over the land here. Currently looking like we're impacting in water, but we're not quite over the land yet. Okay. I'm not sending out the chutes yet because I'd rather land in water. EVA report for flying low over shores. Okay. Now we can send out the chutes. SAS can be off. We no longer need that. Main chutes out. Beautiful. Not a bad landing as far as things go. It was spicier of a re-entry than I was anticipating, but it's all good. And yeah, that was a fun mission, actually. I liked that. That was a really neat mission. Let's head on down at this point. Oh, I do not like the detachment going on there. I don't like that detachment at all. Are we okay at 2x? It looks okay, at least for now, at 2x. Definitely getting a splashdown here. I like it. 5 kilometers up. We're going to have our drogues deploying relatively shortly. 3 kilometers up. Drogues deploying now. And mains will be following shortly. Right about now. Beautiful. And there go our mains. We've definitely got some overkill going on the chutes here. Are we okay to accelerate this? I am seeing some detachment here. I don't love it. We could quick save in case we do have some detachment and then warp our way down at 4x. I've only seen it actually detach once when doing this. So in theory, the risk is relatively low. But there we go. So this was an easy contract that we completed here. Technically, it was completed back at Minmus, but well, no, we did need to bring the surface sample back. So once we recover this, that'll be an easy difficulty contract, and that of course means we'll just continue heading down here. That of course means we get 25,000 for that, plus what we got for completing our exploration contract, which technically we cheated to complete that, but I'm completely okay with that. As far as I'm concerned, we fulfilled all of those requirements. We just did it in a way that the game wasn't expecting, right? That's my take on that. So we'll recover this vessel. That's great. And then we're going to need to get 25,000 for completing our contract here. Which, let me, while we're loading in here, let me move that over into the completed column. Okay. Oh, and apparently I never moved over the fixing the moon outpost contract. I'll do that as well. There we go. Cool. So all we have now is the Duna outpost contract. We will see what we have available here, but we need to get our payment. So let's get ourselves our 25,000. So that's going to be, let's see here, 31. So that would be 56. Yes. There we go. 25,000. Fantastic. And let's hop into mission control real quick. And this is this is the one we already did. Like, we just did this. That's interesting. Did it not flag as completed by the game? Because we completed it via the cheat menu? Maybe. I don't feel like we should accept it again. If we decline it, will we continue getting exploration contracts? I don't know. We can't actually decline it. It'll expire in 2 days, 6 hours. So I think we'll just let it expire, and we'll probably work on another viewer contract between now and then. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, James, Shadowwolf, MLohan80, Rogue Corvid, Kentogan, Andy McGar, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12 UK, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.